Miente. We are May 20th. Miente, it's Cameroon Independence Day. Not really. It's today both parts of Cameroon became one. To me, it was a mistake. Cameroon should be a federal country. To talk to you differently about disability. So, Biden, and it's heartbreaking, has cancer. To me, that is so tragic. Joe Biden has done amazing things. There are good reasons to criticize his African and his foreign policy, but he did great things. That is, in my opinion, undeniable. The tragic thing here is that Joe Biden failed in what I believe was the critical part of what he was supposed to do as president. And that's tragic, Miente. That's tragic. And the reason why I wanted to talk to you about that on May 20th, which happens to be the National Day of Cameroon, is because Cameroon has a president who's older than Joe Biden. And without getting into all the politics of it, I wanted to talk about age and what it tells us about disability, the way it is viewed, perceived from America to Cameroon, from America to Africa. Jake Tapper and another journalist, I don't know his name, but I was listening to their interview on one of my favorite shows on NPR, All Things Considered. And they were giving this interview about Joe Biden and his presidency, arguing that they hid his shortcomings, the signs that he was aging throughout his presidency, that his days were getting shorter. He had trouble with his memory. He couldn't remember who George Clooney was, etc., etc. And I was thinking, yes, that's very, very sad. But thankfully for America, there were people around to manage what was happening. To me, the bad part here is the decision to run for re-election and the way he dealt with the long game. Because although it is undeniable that Joe Biden did amazing things, most of what he has done is being undone right now. And I think that the main reason is that because they had no long-term plan. They kept thinking that the only way to keep doing it was to keep him as president and not to realize that you can't. Being president in America and anywhere else, it's not just about being there and making decisions. It's also the symbolism, how you look, how you appear, the way people look at you. And when you are aging, you are not inspiring confidence. Joe Biden, people started to talk about his age because he was looking old. He was slurring his words. He was sometimes having trouble complete his sentences. People were thinking or were asking questions about his memory. In a way, Joe Biden became a problem when he started to look disabled and when it was impossible for his staff to hide the sign that were suggesting that he was disabled. Can you imagine that, Niente? As a people, as a person, as a woman of color with a disability, that is very, very troublesome to me. That looking disabled, looking frail, falling, looking bad, looking old, tripping, looking weak will send a message that you don't know what you're doing, that you can't lead, that you're not the right person for the job. All of those who deal with disability know that most of the time, that is the way somebody with a disability looks. Different, frail, they can fall, they can limp, they can stutter, and they don't look like a model for Abercrombie and Fitch. So immediately, people assume that they are not smart, that they're not competent, that they can't be good at what they do, they can't be knowledgeable, and that they can't do the job. Now, let's go carefully to Cameroon. There's going to be a parade. And the president of Cameroon, who's older than Joe Biden, has to attend that parade. And most of what Cameroonians care about, most of what his own party care about is how he looks. For his partisans, for his supporters, it's very important that he doesn't look disabled. That's all that matters. That he doesn't show his age. That he doesn't limp. That he doesn't trip. His partisans, his supporters want him to look good. The expression in Cameroon, in French, for that has been, tied to the president of Cameroon, Paul Biya, is show ga. It's important. Nothing else matters today beside the appearance. The president of Cameroon can't look old and disabled. And the people who are against him, the people who feel that it's time for change, that things are not going well, it's the same thing. The only thing that matters here is how he looks. Does he look good? Does he look frail? Is he able to basically attend? The parade has been shortened. The appearance. The president of Cameroon, like the president of America, can't look disabled. Looking disabled is a sign that you can't do the job. Limping, falling, slurring, stuttering, being forgetful, not looking normal, looking old, not looking good, are signs that you are not competent, that you can't be president, that you can't be a leader, that you're not up to the job, that you're not up to the job, that you're not up to the task. So, Miante, what does it tell you about disability, even in 2025. Joe Biden, he dealt with the COVID crisis, I think, well. That's, to me, is not even debatable. The sole question throughout was appearance and a decision to just keep at it. And to think that if we make it look good, it can work, because at the end of it, he gets the big stuff right. The debate of last summer, when he looks disabled, he looks old, he's just unraveling in front of our eyes, and nobody's able to get over that, because appearances matter. Cameroon, the debate around president's age. When people say, no, he can't do the job, because as his age, whatever, whatever. And to me, it always sounds wrong, because it's a shortcut. It's a way to talk about something else. And as Cameroonians love to do, to avoid the real issue. And in my letter to the Cameroon president, I think it was 2021, I said to him, as a physically challenged woman originally from Cameroon, it hurts me that you have to hide by all means necessary the signs that you are aging, when they should be a badge of honor. I wrote to President Biya. I would put the link of the article. It's in French. It hurts me as a physically challenged woman originally from Cameroon that you have to hide the sign that you're aging, when the signs that you're aging should be a badge of honor. You shouldn't have to hide those things, especially if you think that you are still up to the job. I think that I could have said the same thing to Biden. If he felt that he was truly up to the job, that he could still do the job, then he shouldn't have to hide the fact that he's struggling with stuff, as most people of his age and most people with disability are struggling with stuff. I struggle with stuff. I fall all the time. I don't look good when I walk. Okay? I'm limping. I don't look good. If you look at me, you'll say, people are like, but I do it. It takes me almost, when I'm in bad shape, 2 hours to do 5K, okay? But I do 5K. Very, very difficult. But I do 5K. It looks awful. It looks painful. It looks very, very difficult. But I do it. So what I find telling is like all of this, the fact that even in 2025, disability can be a sign of incompetence, and of so much more that is unsaid. From the United States to Cameroon to Africa, you can't be a leader if you look disabled. So imagine if you're disabled. What chances do you have? If you look like what most people in America, in Cameroon, in Africa say, no, we don't want the president to look like that. We don't want to see somebody that, is limping, who slurs, who is forgetful, who stutters. That person can't represent us. That is not normal. Doesn't look good. I think one of the most telling things that somebody ever said to me about my disability was a Cameroonian journalist. He said to me, "Why are you putting your disability in my face? Why are you putting it in my face? I don't want to see that." And to me, I was like, well, is he imagining that I can hide it? He's saying to me he doesn't want to see me. This is not a minority position. This is what most people feel. You have to make sure that your disability doesn't make people feel uneasy, uncomfortable. You have to dress better. You have to hide, like people were doing with Joe Biden and what people are going to be doing with President Paul Biya right now. You have to hide it. People don't want to see that in their face. It's your thing. It's your burden to carry. People don't want to share it. People don't want to have to deal. It makes them feel uncomfortable. People don't want to deal with your crap. It's your shit. You deal with it. The tragedy of Joe Biden is that he dealt with this issue poorly. If he wanted to run for president, there was no way he could just deny that he was struggling. There was no way. There was no way he could just, say, oh no, the media, no, I'm good, I'm doing it, If he had been honest, if he had showed it and say, yeah, I'm slowing down, but I'm the man for the job. Look at what I've done, in spite of the fact that I'm older. But yes, I'm sure I may be struggling with my memory. Having the conversation. That's why I'm kind of mad with Joe Biden. He gave an interview last week with the BBC saying he could have beaten Trump. I was saying, Joe, dear sir, Mr. President, yes, you could have. If you had been honest. If you had said, I'm old. I'm not going to hide that fact from you. Because millions of Americans, of people around the world are dealing with all type of disability. And the fact that I'm old is not a disability, but it shows to you that disabled people can do stuff, can do shit. My accomplishments show that. Honesty, openness about frailty, about age, about disability is important here. Instead of hiding and just saying, no, it doesn't matter. No, it matters. Even when I feel like, yeah, it doesn't mean that he can't do the job, but he has to talk about it, to be honest about it, not to hide it. Imagine if after the debate, his choice had been, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with you. Imagine, Miente, if Joe Biden had said what FDR was never able to say about his own disability and had said, guys, it's 4 years. It's going to be hard. But at my age, I'm still the best person for the job. At my age, with my struggles, with my amnesia, with all the stuff that you're hearing about, I'm still the best person for the job. That speech, me and they, would have made a difference for all the people in the world who are aging, who are disabled, who have to deal with this shit when they can't hide their disability, when they can't not put it in front of people's face. That debate around age is, in Cameroonian politics, is unsavory. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. I said it. It's disgusting. Because it just shows that Cameroonian, no matter what their politics is, believe that somebody who's disabled, who looks old, can be president, can be a leader, can be competent. That's what it says. There's so many other stuff they could focus on. But focusing on how the president looks like, to me, is disgusting. It's disgusting. That's so much energy is placed on that issue, on avoiding any signs of weakness. And it's heartbreaking. Because as a disabled person, I'm saying, oh my God, I have no future in the country. Because I can't hide it. Even with a prosthetic leg, I still look awful. I will always look awful to those people. I posted a picture of my leg, of my, my amputated leg. And people were like, oh, no. We don't want to see that. And I posted a picture of me. I was just recuperating after my third surgery. I was doing a church service for my dad in Paris. And the people who were against me were saying, look at her crutches. Lol. MDR. Mort de rire. The crutches. That's Cameroon for you. That's why the president of Cameroon, everything, so much energy, so much money is on appearance. What a waste of time. What a waste of energy. And my manager, but he missed it. He didn't seize the moment. I'm hoping to see a politician anywhere in the world with a disability say, guys, I don't have to look perfect. I'm struggling, and that's okay. But I'm doing the job. And my record is going to speak for itself. And I'm not going to pretend that I don't have any physical or mental challenge. Age, disability, having the guts not to run from the issue. Thank you for watching this episode of the podcast. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. On reste ensemble, miante. See you Thursday for another episode of the Christelle Nadia Fotso podcast.